Have you ever stood up from a chair and felt a little wobbly, even though you were fine just last week? Or maybe your legs don't feel as steady on the stairs anymore, and you've been wondering, is this just aging, or is something else going on? You're not alone if you've been feeling a little weaker lately, the kind of weakness that creeps in slowly, barely noticeable at first, but over time starts to chip away at your confidence. You start saying no to walks you used to enjoy, or you hold on to the railing a little tighter, just in case. The truth is, yes, aging changes our bodies. But sometimes what's making us feel weaker isn't just age. It's what we're putting into our bodies every single day. That's what we're diving into today. Some of the most common medications people over 60 are prescribed that may actually be contributing to that creeping weakness. The very pills meant to help could be slowly draining your strength, your energy, and even your balance. And the tricky part? Most of the time, we don't even suspect the medication. After all, we trust our doctors, and we've been told these drugs are important. But here's the thing, your doctor isn't living in your body. Only you know what feels off. And sometimes all it takes is a closer look at your medicine cabinet to start feeling stronger again. Now, don't worry, I'm not telling you to throw out your pills or ignore your doctor's advice. But knowledge is power. And once you know what to look out for, you can start asking better questions, having more informed conversations, and most importantly, start feeling more like you again. So let's talk about the first one. It's one you've probably heard of, maybe even take yourself, especially if you've had any trouble sleeping. I'm talking about sleep aids, those over-the-counter pills that promise a restful night with just one dose. Some go by brand names, others are generics, but many of them contain a common ingredient, diphenhydramine. It's the same drug found in some allergy medications too, like Benadryl. Now here's the problem. While it can make you sleepy, it also affects something deeper, your nervous system. In older adults, diphenhydramine can cause confusion, dizziness, and that sluggish, foggy feeling the next day. Worse, it can actually make your muscles weaker and slow down your reaction time. So that sleepy little pill you were taking at night, it might be why you feel groggy in the morning, why your legs feel like jelly, why you're tripping over rugs you used to step over easily. The good news is there are better options. If sleep is the issue, talk to your doctor about safer alternatives. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, for instance, has been shown to help without the side effects. Even a warm foot bath before bed can do wonders. But you deserve to sleep and feel strong when you wake up. Let's move on to another common culprit, cholesterol-lowering drugs, especially statins. These are prescribed to millions of adults to help prevent heart disease. And yes, they do have their benefits. But here's what many people aren't told. Statins can cause something called muscle myopathy, which is a fancy way of saying your muscles might start to ache or feel weak. Some people even describe it as a deep soreness in the legs or a heavy, tired feeling that doesn't go away, even with rest. And if that sounds familiar to you, you're not imagining it. In fact, many people over 60 experience this side effect, but they chalk it up to just getting older. So they keep taking the pills, keep feeling weaker, and slowly stop doing the things they love, dancing, gardening, playing with the grandkids, because their body doesn't feel the same. Now, again, I'm not saying to stop taking your statin, but it's worth having a conversation with your doctor. Not all statins affect everyone the same way. There are different vials, and sometimes a lower dose or a switch to another medication can help you get the benefits without the unwanted weakness. Even better, lifestyle changes like adding more omega-3s or soluble fiber to your diet can reduce cholesterol naturally and make a big difference over time. It's so important to remember, feeling strong and steady in your body isn't something you should have to sacrifice for your heart health. You can and should have both. And before we continue, let me pause and say something important. If anything I've mentioned so far has struck a chord with you, if you've had that quiet feeling that something you're taking might be making you feel off, you're not being paranoid. You're being wise. After 60, we don't bounce back the same way. Way. And small changes can have a big impact. This isn't about fear. It's about freedom. The freedom to understand your body better and take back your power. Now that we've looked at sleep aids and statins, two common medications with big effects on your strength and mobility, let's keep going. There's another class of drugs that might be quietly affecting the way you move, and you might even be taking them for something as ordinary as heartburn. There's a quiet little corner of your medicine cabinet that might be doing more harm than good when it comes to your strength. Those medications for heartburn. Many of us reach for an over-the-counter pill to tame that burning sensation in our chest or the nagging discomfort after a big meal, never suspecting that these drugs, particularly the ones known as proton pump inhibitors, could be affecting more than just our digestion. Over time, the constant use of these pills can lead to a drop in essential minerals like magnesium. You might not notice it at first, but magnesium plays an important role in muscle function, and without enough of it, your muscles might not work as well as they should. It's like trying to drive a car that's missing oil. It might still run, but not as smoothly or powerfully as it once did. Now, I know that heartburn's more than just an inconvenience. It can interrupt your sleep and even make social dinners less enjoyable. But if you're depending on these pills night after night, it could be a silent contributor to that unexplained feeling of weakness that sometimes catches you off guard. Instead of reaching immediately for another dose, it might be time to consider gentler ways of easing your discomfort. Sometimes even simple changes to your routine, a light walk after meals, a slightly adjusted dinner schedule, or even some natural remedies recommended by your doctor, can help keep that burning sensation at bay without the extra toll on your muscles. Speaking of taking extra doses, there's another common medication that many find helpful for easing anxiety or getting a little extra rest on long, tiring days. I'm talking about benzodiazepines. These are the kinds of pills that can calm your nerves in moments of stress or help you drift off into sleep when your thoughts are louder than your desire for peace. They're almost like a warm blanket on a chilly night, comforting and familiar. But much like those heartburn remedies, they can have a downside that often goes unnoticed until the effects start to add up. Benzodiazepines have a way of dulling not just anxiety, but also some of the reflexes and muscle strength that keep you agile and alert during the day. You see, these medications work by relaxing the body and mind, which is great when you're trying to wind down. The trouble begins when that relaxation lingers into the day. Some people start feeling unsteady on their feet or a bit too drowsy to enjoy their usual morning routine. Suddenly, simple tasks like gardening, going for a leisurely stroll, or even just standing from a seated position might feel like an uphill battle. And while the comfort they provide for a short period is undeniable, it can sometimes set you up for a longer-term drag on your overall energy levels. It's perfectly natural to need a helping hand every now and then, and there's absolutely no shame in using these kinds of medications when they are right for your situation. However, when you notice that the benefits are slowly being overshadowed by that creeping lethargy, it might be time to take a closer look. Have you ever wondered if there might be another way to calm those jitters or lull yourself into a restful sleep without feeling like you're missing a beat the next day? Sometimes even small lifestyle tweaks like practicing a bit of gentle stretching or trying a mindfulness exercise can deliver a peaceful state of mind without the unwanted side effects. I've seen many folks who, after switching up their approach with a little help from their trusted doctor, have reclaimed that vigor they thought was a thing of the past. A few of them rediscovered the simple pleasures of morning walks, the echo of their own laughter at family gatherings, and the delight in gentle activities like reading by a sunny window. It's a reminder that while medications are designed to help, they're just one piece of the larger puzzle of staying healthy and feeling strong as we age. One of the most comforting things you might already know is that you are not alone in this. Many friends, family members, and even neighbors are taking a closer look at their own medicine routines simply because they too have started noticing those subtle shifts. When the body isn't quite as quick or the balance isn't as sure, it's a conversation worth having at your next doctor's visit. Are the benefits of these medications outweighing the downsides? Is it possible that there's an alternative that supports both your health and your strength? Sometimes doctors might suggest adjusting the dosage, switching to a different drug, or even incorporating more natural approaches alongside the medications you're already comfortable with. For instance, let's say you've been relying on both heartburn pills and benzodiazepines for a while now. In one case, a doctor might recommend that you start with a trial period where you monitor your magnesium levels and, if necessary, add a supplement to help restore that balance. In the case of anxiety or sleep issues, perhaps introducing a calming routine with deep breathing, a gentle evening walk, or even a bit of meditation could lessen the need for those sedative pills. These aren't drastic overhauls, just small, thoughtful adjustments that can make a noticeable difference in your overall energy and muscle strength. It's all about finding that delicate balance between what your body needs now and preserving your vitality for the years ahead. We're all given the same amount of time, and every little change can help you feel more present in your daily life, more capable of enjoying every moment. Even if you've been taking these medications for years, it doesn't mean you can't explore other options that might just help you feel more like yourself. The idea isn't to eliminate what works entirely, but rather to question if there might be a gentler, more supportive approach to managing your symptoms while keeping your body strong and resilient. The journey to a more energetic, balanced life after 60 is paved with choices. Each decision you make is a step towards not just living longer, but living better. It might feel like a lot of change, but remember that every good decision made today adds up to more energy and more moments filled with the joy of movement tomorrow. It's a gradual process, a kind of gentle shift rather than an overnight transformation, but it's one that can offer you a renewed sense of independence and well-being. When you think about the medications you take and what they really do for your body, it's not about blame, it's about understanding. The hope is that by taking time to review these details and questioning the status quo, you'll find ways to minimize those unwelcome side effects, keeping your body as strong as you feel it should be. Now, as we continue on this conversation, keep in mind that exploring these choices is part of a larger conversation about feeling your best every day. There are still more insights to be uncovered on how simple, informed changes can protect your vitality and help you maintain your strength well into your later years. There's one last medication we need to talk about today, and it might be one of the trickiest ones to spot. That's because it's not just in one prescription or one little pill bottle. It's tucked into a variety of medications used for everything from depression to nerve pain, even bladder issues. I'm talking about anticholinergic drugs. Now, I know that sounds like a big medical word, but what it really means is this. These are medications that block a specific type of nerve signal in your body. And while that might help control certain symptoms, it can also quietly interfere with your memory, your alertness, and yes, your muscle strength. You may have heard of medications like amitriptyline or oxybutynin, or even certain older antihistamines. These drugs can cause something that feels a lot like brain dump. You may find yourself forgetting words, misplacing your keys a little more often, or feeling just a bit off during conversations. But it's not just your mind that takes the hit. These medications can also reduce your ability to move confidently and smoothly. You might not connect that mental sluggishness with your physical balance, but they are more connected than we often realize. Think of it like trying to walk across a narrow bridge on a windy day. If your mind is sharp and focused, you can place your steps carefully and keep your balance. But if your mind is foggy or distracted, that same bridge starts to feel a whole lot more dangerous. That's what these medications can do. They dull the very signals that help you stay upright and safe. And for older adults, that dullness can lead to something even more serious: falls. In fact, research has shown that anticholinergic drugs increase the risk of falling in people over 60, not only because they slow down your reflexes, but because they reduce the communication between your brain and your muscles. Suddenly, that split-second reaction you needed to catch yourself on the stairs isn't there. I want to be clear again. You should never stop a medication cold turkey or without medical guidance. Some people do need these medications, and they can be incredibly helpful when used correctly. But if you're experiencing any combination of confusion, muscle weakness, or frequent stumbles, it might be time to take a closer look. There may be safer, newer alternatives available, or perhaps a lower dose might still give you relief without that lingering haze. Now let's pause for a moment and think about what all of this means. It's not just about pointing fingers at pills. It's about recognizing patterns in your body and connecting the dots. Feeling weaker doesn't always mean your muscles are the problem. Sometimes it's the messages your brain is or isn't sending to those muscles. And sometimes it's the medications getting in the way of that message being delivered clearly. And isn't that empowering to realize that maybe, just maybe, your body isn't failing you at all? It's just being weighed down by something it didn't ask for. I know how easy it is to get used to these routines. You take your pills every morning with your cup of tea or line them up in your weekly organizer with care. There's comfort in routine and trust in the system that gave you those prescriptions. But sometimes it takes stepping back and saying, is this still serving me? Is this helping me live the life I want? Maybe you miss that feeling of jumping out of bed with a bit of pep in your step. Maybe your arms feel just a little too heavy when you lift the groceries or reach for the top shelf. Maybe you've noticed you don't laugh as freely or you hesitate more often before heading out for a walk. Those aren't just quirks of aging. They might be clues. Here's the truth no one tells you enough. You're allowed to question what you're taking. You're allowed to ask your doctor to explain things more clearly. You're allowed to say, I'm not feeling right. Can we take another look? You've earned that right through a lifetime of experience, wisdom, and paying attention to your body. Don't be afraid to use it. So let's bring it all together for a moment. We talked about sleep aids, those little nighttime helpers that can leave you foggy and off balance the next morning. We looked at statins and how they sometimes cause muscle weakness that gets blamed on aging. Then there were heartburn medications, which may deplete key minerals that keep your muscles firing properly. We explored how anxiety or sleep medications like benzodiazepines can rob you of clarity and physical steadiness. And finally, those sneaky anticholinergic drugs hidden in prescriptions for all sorts of things, slowly fogging up both your mind and your body. Each one might seem harmless on its own, but when you put them together or take them long-term without reassessing, the effects can stack up. And those effects, they can chip away at your independence. But here's the beautiful part. You are not stuck. You can make a change, one question, one conversation, one decision at a time. You can begin to feel lighter, stronger, and more in control of your own story again. Because life after 60 isn't about slowing down. It's about choosing what matters most. It's about waking up and feeling ready to enjoy your day. It's about chasing laughter with your grandchildren, taking walks without worry, and feeling good in your skin, not because everything is perfect, but because you know you're doing your best to stay well. And that's the power you hold today. Just by being curious, just by wondering, could this pill be part of the problem? You've taken the first step towards something better. So if any part of today's conversation has made you think twice or think deeper, don't let that spark fade. Write down your questions. Make an appointment. Bring a friend or family member if it helps. But don't wait for things to get worse to make them better. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace of mind. And above all, you deserve a body that helps you live life to the fullest, not one that quietly holds you back. Here's to feeling better, stronger, and more empowered, one step at a time.